Righto, we're back on Loose Lines. Daniel Hibberd, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, Paul. Very well. It's been a big weekend, and good to be back.
Absolutely, and the scary man himself, Toby McKinnon. How might you be, mate?
Good, thanks. And you?
Oh Lord!
Did you know, Paul? The mother of Angu is a horse called Good Thanks. So it's a very cleverly named horse, Angu.
It is. It is. You do, Daniel. I've done a little bit with Toby over the years, and he can get a man crush on the odd person and all the rest. I got really worried one night at Echuca. He said he is a really, really good-looking rooster, Wes Shelley, and ever since he's got a good man crush on him. Does a great job though, doesn't he, Tobes?
Terrific, and he's just a lovely bloke, Wes. Just a country gentleman would be the best way to describe him. Does a great job with his horses. He's probably only got two horses in work as far as I know, Angu and Sultan Sat. Not a bad strike rate to have a horse run second in the Australian Trotters Championship on Saturday night and a horse that ran second on Tuesday night in the Breeders' Crown Silver Trotters with a filly taking on the Colton Geldings too.
Absolutely. I might speak a little bit out of school, but the Shelleys have been a family, I think, for a long time in trotting. They've done a great job. Flown under the radar for years in the Golden Valley. Peter, I forget all their names. I should know them because I did grow up. I was a kid when they were, training back in the day, his grandfather and the likes, and they've always had a nice horse in their stable. They just know how to produce them, don't they?
He actually sent me a text message about something else on Friday and said he doesn't own a pair of hopples, so I think he's only interested in trotters, Wes.
Yep, that is a very, very good push. While we're pushing things, we might. I'll bring the video up. I didn't actually get Dan Lecky's call of this race, but race one at Melton on Saturday night. Tobes, you might have sort of half questioned the logic behind the great man's thought process here, but Western Sonador, how impressive was it?
Go to the tape. All I said was it'd have to be a very, very good horse to win first up over 2240 metres. And I mean, it only fell in by about 20 odd metres in the end. What's it win by? Like it only
sort of by 10.
Yeah, 10.6 metres. So it just scraped in first up. It looks a nice horse. But you wouldn't mind replace, like one goes out at the end of his career, and I think they might have found another one to take its place.
It's one of the lucky things, Daniel. We were at Geelong the other night. Toby was there as a judge, but we were lucky there to be at Shepparton, wasn't it, Daniel? The night the horse was having its first start back from going to the Riverina, and it was impressive that night, Tobes. Actually, that was a lie. It was a second start because its first start had actually won. I think it might have got beat the night we were there, but you could just see it was a horse with a future. It just had some spunk about it.
Yeah, and the way that it won the race on Saturday night was exactly the same way that it won its first up from the spell at Shepparton earlier in the year. Just sat back, came with one run, and it was Beck obviously knows what sort of motor the horse has got, so there was obviously a little bit of speed on in the first lap of the race, which sort of helped. She was able to go around three wide, but she had a lot of class on those horses on Saturday night, and I wasn't surprised to see it do that job, I must say.
It's great to see Beck not only driving these horses for Stephen, but now as a partnership. They've had a winner today at Shepparton in Rock on Loxley as well. Also got off Johnny Nissen. They're doing a great job. They don't train a lot of horses, and they're doing a great job. But like Toby said there before, one maybe walks away. He hasn't officially been retired just yet, but he's not far off, I don't think. And you get a lovely horse like him. Plus, they have their bread and butter horses keep coming through like they do.
Well, they're at the trials basically every Thursday night with at least one or two just poking them around. They've actually I reckon they've got probably four of them that are at the trials that are probably not far off from racing. And we'll get on to one of them a little bit later on. But the four of them go really nicely. So I'm sure there'll be a few more winners to the stable in the next little while as well.
Social media, it's great to get social media a buzz. I like social media, and I'm sure you guys, I know you both do a little bit. Tara Tom was pretty impressed with the fact that you picked it, Daniel. That's always good when the big Tom Hogan gives you a bit of a rap, mate. Doesn't hurt your career.
Yeah, no, he was very supportive. He does like like some of the comments that come out from me at times. And he's certainly a supporter of mine, which is great. And it was nice to get that on Saturday night. It was just as nice to get a winner for once. That was even better.
Yeah, wonderful judge, Tom Hogan. Absolute fantastic judge, Paul, and really good judge of trial race calls as well.
Have you ever watched his code when he turns around? What did you just say then? Judge of race callers? Oh, trial callers. I don't think he wrapped up that Melton trial meeting that time. I'm not sure. I might have missed it, but I don't think he gave it much of a wrap.
No, he noticed that Terang on November 8th that the trial call was pretty good, and I think do yourself a favour and have a look at. There was a horse trial that day called Cloudbreak. No, serious. There was a horse trial that day called Cloudbreak. We haven't seen it yet, but it was very, very impressive at the trial.
Who trains it?
Marg Lee. It's come from New Zealand, had about 12 starts for only 4 or 5 placings, but it's been racing in that sort of better grade 3-year-old, so its form's a lot better than it looks.
We're getting all the trial updates here now. I thought there was a joke when you said the name was Cloudbreak. I thought, well, he's thrown a one-liner in.
Here we go. There's got to be something. There's something got to be behind this, surely.
So, apart from the sea breeze coming through at Geelong the other night, boys, what was your highlight for the weekend? Because we only went to live we only did it last Thursday night, this show, but we're going to change it to be released on a Monday night. My highlight for the weekend was that sea breeze because it was just sensational when it came through. I can tell you it was warm at Geelong, but it was a bit of a trying night. Fellas, your thoughts?
I couldn't believe how quickly it dried, like the temperature changed. Obviously, not having not lived on the coast or anything like that, it was a bit different for me. But when it came through after Chris Lang's horse won, it was just instant relief, which was just what we needed because it had been a pretty stinker of the day. But it was lovely on Friday night.
Did you have other highlights?
The judges box.
Sorry, Topes.
The judges box at Geelong went from about 48 degrees to 47 when that sea breeze came through. It was quite nice. It
does stand out a little bit like a sore thumb, that judge's box, doesn't it? Just there in the middle of nowhere. But it was pleasant. It was a pleasant bit of shade for me and Daniel, I must say. So, but it was good that they were back racing and the likes. They're doing a fair bit with the grandstand and that too, which is good for them. So really good. It was actually one of the highlights. Chris Lang's interview, Daniel. He's a terrific interview, isn't he? When he can give you a lot sometimes, Chris, when he's in the mood, and he gave you plenty the other night at Geelong. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was really good. He's always up for a good chat, and I mean even after we finished the interview, he was there for a few more minutes afterwards, having a bit of a yarn about different things, and it was really good to have him after Arch won. It was we sort of said on air that it was a bit of a tricky horse to sort of catch. Well, he got all the luck on Friday night and got a nice trail through and was able to come down the outside win. So it was good to catch up.
I think it was Peter Cakebread or Jeff Cakebread, one of them put on there the Twitter there that it was a Gavin-esque drive, and it's exactly what it was. Very pretty to watch. Tracked through on the back of Greg Sugars and went from there. Saturday night, boys, was there many highlights for you guys? I couldn't get over Majestuoso. He is the real deal. He's probably got to get his racing manners a little bit better, but he's just going to be an excitement machine for a couple of years to come, I think.
Yeah, pretty special, Paul. I was pretty happy with the race, as you know. So the listeners I was on SEN and I was on SEN on Thursday, and I made a case for a horse called NU. You might be aware of this. I'm not sure that it was well over the odds at 150 to 1. If you go back to the tape Thursday, I said it should be $10 and $2.50 to place. So I didn't think it'd necessarily win the race, but it was a definite sort of value proposition. And for Majestuoso to win and you to run second, great result for Kate Hargraves and Alex Ashwood as well to find running third, and even cruising around running fourth. And I know you got the first 4, Paul, and it paid $52,000, so you would have celebrated that pretty strongly, I'd imagine.
A lot of people are well aware, mate, I'm not a punter, so there was no chance of me getting that one. It was a very interesting race, though, so got a little bit of feedback for some reason, but now we're right.
It's always good to get some good positive feedback, Paul.
Yeah.
Personal feedback too.
I hope this is recording okay. I might do a little check in a sec. We might just throw to a break in a minute, but we'll go from there. But Miss McGonigal, Jackie Law, I tell you, I'll do a few talking tactics. I might have to get Jack Law on. That was a gun drive, wasn't it?
Yeah, to get out at the top of the straight, looked like he was going to get jammed in there, but he managed to make a gap and get through. And once she got to the outside, she's got that good sprint on her, and she was able to get up over the top. And I thought she was actually a good chance in that race, given that that was pretty much the position I expected her to be in the run. And it was a good drive to get her out and win. And yeah, she's obviously got some good races coming up in the next month or so to finish off her campaign.
Isn't it great when a man...
Paul was...
Sorry, Toby, you go.
Sorry, you go. No, you go. I was going to change on another race. So.
No, I'm just going to say it's great when a mare gets in form like a horse like Miss McGonigal. We see it year in, year out. The mare just starts coming through their grades and they get to that top line. I reckon it's one of the highlights of the standardbreds, but I'm pretty sure the thoroughbreds would have the same thing. But just a horse probably not sure how far she was going to go, and then all of a sudden, like Daniel's comments weren't silly. Like she could feature in some really nice races coming up February, March next year.
Yeah, only a 4-year-old, so and by modern out of a Nicholas Brennack mare, so just shows that they can come from anywhere, can't they?
Absolutely. You were going to change tack, Topes?
Yeah, to the 2-year-old, I was most impressed with Viva La Rock. I've got a massive opinion of Bondi Lockdown. I think it's going to be. I think in 4 or 5 years we'll know how good Bondi Lockdown is. He's a fair bit off maturing into a racehorse, but Viva La Rock just. Dave Moran just sort of slid him forward in the chair up close to go dancing, and they ran home in 27.8, 27.6, 156.7 mile rate for the 2-year-old. He was very impressive, I thought.
Yep. And the other highlight, I think.
I've seen a lot of that horse over the last. I've seen a lot of that horse over the last 3 or 4 months at the trials, and I've had a pretty good opinion of him. But he's done a few things wrong early on, which has sort of cost him. But I think the stable's worked him out, and with David doing the bulk of the driving on the horse over the last little while, and I think Josh has been driving it as well. They've it's gradually got better and better, and he's a very nice horse.
The other highlight, I
Keith
think,
Gotchin.
Was what?
Better and better. Keith Gotchin.
The other highlight for the night was young Jaden Barker. You think back to the start of COVID-19, he wasn't getting a lot of drives and the likes, and then now he's winning MO races at Melton. It's a second MO I think he's won this year, the old-fashioned MO. Like, he's done a great job.
He has, and an honourable mention to Scotty Ewen for his win on Bulletproof Boy.
There's that bus. Just run over it again.
All jokes aside, Tobe, Scotty Ewan is doing a great job because he's got that horse back going and he's presenting some of these other trotters. He's doing a good job there at the Cranbourne establishment.
Yeah, well, he's almost the leading hand there now, isn't he? He's sort of their flagship man, I suppose. I know Cranbourne's trying to they're full up and they're trying to build some more stables there so to accommodate some more people, and it's something you'll keep hearing me bang on about, but it's so much cheaper to rent a few boxes at a Cranbourne than build your own complex.
I'm probably going to do a stable chat there in the near future, hopefully going forward. That's me one aim. Boys, we set a topic a week. I got no idea what Daniel's is. I know what Toby's is, and I think it's quite a good one. So we might fire with yours first, Daniel, because you keep things under your hat. You don't even give me the winners for the trials until the last minute. So we'll throw with your topic for the week, and we'll go from there.
Well, I did last week was obviously David Moran's great effort there at Cobham to have 5 winners. I think he ended up having about 6 or 7 for the week. And I did mention to you on Friday night, but driver who probably doesn't get much recognition and is only a small time operator, I guess, in Jason Ainsworth, who had 3 winners during the week, and they were all massive odds. He had a double at Ararat with underplay, which paid $29, and Flaming Lucky was paid just under 20 to 1, which was that's a pretty good effort to have a stable double of those odds. And then to back it up, he drove Countess Sharon for Ray Cross at Fillmore, and it paid $42. So he's had 3 sponsors odds winners for the week, and just that's a pretty good effort to score on. It's hard enough to win on 3 short price favourites, but when you're winning on 3 boulders, that's a really good effort for the week.
Absolutely. I think is he the one, Toby, do you know if he's the one that works for Peter Manning?
I think he is, Paul, yeah. So,
yeah.
And I think he's come a long way through that. And they do a wonderful job because I don't know how to put it. They get a lot of their horses off other people. They're not going to yearling sales and getting 5 or 6 untried horses and bringing them through. So it's a pretty tough gig when you are always in that boat where you're getting low-priced horses off other people to find winners. And the Ainsworths really just keep getting winners at the moment. And you'd sort of love to see them get 4 or 5 yearlings and see what they could do with a crop from, where they might get a really good horse.
They got that trotter from David Van Ryn and just been terrific with the going up and down in their grades. Wins when he goes back down into the right grade, and then they cart him around. I can't think of his name. Someone will be sitting there saying, "Oh, they know its name," but they've done a great job. I think they've had him for 3, 4, 5 years, and they've probably made money on him. But they're happy to take him around, and just when they can, they win, and when they go around, they do a great job. As we say, we need as many people as we can in this industry. So well done to the Ainsworths. Toby, your topic after last week's effort, and just before you go on. We agreed with your idea, and a few people have agreed with your idea, but myself and Daniel watched a long-distance trot the other night at Geelong, and I think what they run, 119.8, Daniel, it meant nothing to us. So it was just totally an irrelevant figure because we've never seen a distance race over Geelong over that, so we don't know if that's fast, slow, or whatever. Daniel looked it up, and it was about the average, but it's just one of those things. I think they need to look at it anyway. Whether they might need tinkering. I saw some people say go up to a half, go up to a mile rate. I don't know, but just tinker with it anyway. But I think they should think about it as a way of improving the sport.
Yeah, that's the lead rate discussion we touched on last week, Paul, where we're converting the lead time of a race back to what I suggest to be a quarter rate, because we're all used to the quarters. And in the examples we gave last week, there was Hurricane Harley at Melton and Blue Common ran the same lead time, one at Melton, one at Bendigo. And when you equate them back to a quarter rate, Hurricane Harley did 28 and Blue Common did 33.3. So in a nutshell, that's what it was for those that didn't see it. And I would say it's got a fair bit of support. And from everybody I've ever flagged it with, they've always thought it was a good idea.
Yeah. There was, I think from memory, Blue Common went 45. And Hurricane Harley went 44. Blue Common was a trotter from the standing start. So the lead times looked the same, but huge difference in both races. Rightio, mate, your topic this week? This is scary.
No, I'm going to say first of all, I don't even really have a settled opinion on this. It's more of a discussion point, and it's drivers driving at the two race meetings on the same day, Paul. It just worries me. They skedaddle across from Maryborough to Geelong, or from Maryborough to Shepparton, or from Cobram to Bendigo. And, there's so many roadworks and things like that slow you down. So you think it's a 2-hour trip, but it's often not a 2-hour trip. And I don't know what we can do about it, but it just worries me that it's going to end badly one day.
I totally agree. I don't think we can stop them doing 2 meetings, though, because it's basically a restriction of trade. We're not as fortunate as the thoroughbreds to race for good money either. So I think that's one of the issues. You can't take away someone's earn capabilities, to maximise their income, if you like. But I do feel there should be. It wouldn't be that hard for 2 people to sit down and work out the distances from each meeting. Might take a week. Just to put it down, and then basically say you can't have a drive within 2 hours. If it's from Maryborough to Geelong, you can't do that in under 2 hours. So that's it. There's no restriction to trade. You just cannot accept a drive. You've got to work out which way you go from there and do it that way. I think that's a common sense approach. You still have your roadworks, Tobes. You can't stop that. And Geelong, Daniel knows how bad the roadworks were, but It just needs something put in place for a safeguard myself.
Yeah, no, I accept that 100%, Paul, because I was thinking about it today even. So someone else might work at the Melbourne market, get there at 3 in the morning and work till 3 in the afternoon, and then they drive to Geelong and drive a couple of horses. Well, that's no different to someone going to Maryborough driving in the first and driving in the 7th at Geelong. So we can't stop them from driving at each race meeting, but the idea of maybe saying, well, we know it's a 2-hour trip from Maryborough to Geelong, and they've got to be there half an hour before anyway. So you make it at 2.5 hours, and they just can't accept the race, the race drive. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. And then that controls them from taking a 2-hour 15 gap and trying to push to get there as quick as they can.
And if things happen, like if there is a delay at Maryborough, which used Maryborough and Geelong the other day, if there is a delay, that's fine. Pardon me. If there is a delay, that's bad luck. You know, you have to give up your drive at Geelong or you take off before your next one at Maryborough, which is what they do anyway. But the same thing, it comes back to that time. Instead of saying, oh, look, I might be able to make it, the stewards say, well, no, you can't. You've got to make a choice here. You're going to stay at Maryborough or you're going to go to Geelong. So I think it's a pretty common sense approach and the likes. We've got to remember that they are their own business, a lot of these drivers as well, which is one thing they've got to factor in. People, which is hard for young kids like Jade and Geordie Leedon and those guys who are 17, 18-year-old kids, want to drive everywhere, but they've got to realise that they're running a business and their business is actually them. They've got to be able to sell themselves and market themselves and present themselves at a race meeting fit and ready. So if they're scampering from race meeting to race meeting, they've got to make sure when they get there, they're fit and ready to go as well. So that's the other part, not just running in saying, yep, I'm right, and then have no idea what they're driving or what the form is or any of those things as well. So,
there's probably something that HRV could certainly build into their computer system, I reckon, where they could do some sort of query in the system that says if a race is at Kilmore at 4 o'clock, what's the latest time that they could potentially race at Ballarat or something like that. So it would certainly make it, it would not take it out of the driver's hands. They've still got to be able to make that decision on where they want to drive and if they can actually make it to a meeting. But if there's some safeguards in the system when horses are nominated and when their fields are drawn up, that the HRV staff or the stewards can see, then it just makes it just will highlight those little irregularities and just it gives the stewards the ability to talk to the drivers and say, well, look, you're down for this drive and then you're going to try and get here. We don't think you're going to make it, and then they can start to make better decisions. Because you're right, Toby. There's a situation. The situation could end badly, and we certainly don't want to see that happen. And it's important that it's all, occupational health and safety on all fronts. And, it might not just be, it's not just about, IHNS on the track, it's actually between the tracks as well. And it's important that, we have the right sort of safeguards in place for all the drivers so that, we mitigate the risk that, an accident may happen.
Absolutely. And I think it's probably one of those ones that will go a little bit further on. My topic for the week is going to go too long, so I'm actually going to put it out there. We might discuss more on it next week, but I'm going to put it out there because I spoke to Greg Sugars after the other night with drivers' colours, and Greg and Chris were very keen to get it out there that they wanted drivers' colours and the rest. But I had a good talk to Greg. It was quite interesting, Tobes, the other night. I picked it up. One of their own horses was going around, and it went around in Alan Tubbs' colours because it's owned by Kitchens. I think it was Lara J. McRae was the horse. And even though it's trained by Greg Sugars' wife, who Greg's colours are what they use for all their horses, this horse actually went around in someone else's colours. So there's definitely wiggle room for it. Greg's not dead set. It has to be drivers' colours. Doesn't have to be drivers' colours. But what I actually put to Greg the other night is I have no problems. I was dead against it initially, especially when I race my own horses. I'm like, I get out of bed, I do everything and all the rest. But our industry...
Yeah.
No, back then, not now.
Marie does all.
No.
All that. Come on.
When we had them in the blue and gold, I got out of bed. I was the one that did all the work and did that. But our industry needs to be marketed in a different light. It needs to be shown in a different light. We need to be able to present to a new audience. We don't need to keep the same audience that we've got now happy. We need to be able to reach out to a bigger audience and be able to get more people back into the game. Now, if that's a way of doing it through sponsors and the likes, that if drivers can get themselves sponsored and get everything organised that way as well, we can do those things. I think just to turn around and say our sport will be better because we go in drivers' colours because that's what they do in America, if anyone watches the American product and says they're flying, good luck, because they're kidding themselves because they're not flying. They have the same issues that we have over here. They're always after more money. They're always after more horses. They have the same problems as we have. We should be better than America. We should be having America say, hey, look what these guys are doing, and this is what we should be doing. I don't think we need to follow suit just because the Americans do it and it looks good. Yep, that's fine. In Sweden, I think they have drivers' colours. I think it's France that they have trainers and owners' colours only. There's no drivers' colours. So every part of the world is different. I think Australia's got a chance of being able to change it. For mine, Kelly Partners, they sponsor me. Their logo's on my screen right now. They sponsor me. They sponsor Greg Sugars. For mine, if I was a sponsor, if I owned Kelly Partners or was part of Kelly Partners, I'd want it on the chest. Wrong side, Tobes. How do I go? I'd want it on the chest like the Woodlands shirt because he has his pants sponsored. But whenever you do a driver's interview, you're doing from the waist up. So what's the point of having your pants sponsored? The only people that see your pants being sponsored are the people at the track. Again, the same people we've already got. We want to reach out to a different community that we can get the likes of Kelly Partners seeing their logo on Greg Sugars, and they take a photo and they put it up on their wall, and then someone says, oh, what's that? And then they say, oh, I might tune in and watch Greg Sugars drive tomorrow night. He's one of Kelly Partners' ambassadors. Try and change it up. So, yeah, it won't be finished. I'll let you guys, I don't want you to answer it now. I reckon go away and think about it, and because if we do, we'll be still here at midnight tonight. I think it's one of those topics that, and that's the idea of what I want to do with this show is probably raise topics a little bit differently and try and sell our industry in a different light. I think that's one of the great things we have. I reckon both you guys are, not bad characters, and I think I can carry you through. So I think we've got a chance of making something of it.
I'll give it to you in a nutshell, Paul. I don't own horses. I don't train horses. I don't bet on horses. So I'm pretty unique in this. But I prefer the driver's colours because if I go down to the pub where I've been, there's a group of blokes there that are gallops punters and they'll have a little bet in the trot and they'll look up and they'll say, where's Chris Elford in this race? Because they're betting on drivers. They'll bet Chris Elford. They'll have a quaddie together. They put Chris Elford in every leg. They put Greg Sugars in every leg. They love Glenn Douglas. They put Glenn Douglas in every leg. They look up and they say, where's Chris Elford in this race? And I'll say, oh, no, he's on the horse through back the fence here or whatever in the yellow, and they're the people that don't get it. And they're the ones that we've got to bring into the sport somehow better and better, Keith Gotchin.
Don't want to argue with you, but I'm going to. They're the same ones that back Craig Williams every race in a different set of colours, or Damien Oliver in a different set of colours, and they have no problems finding those colours. So I don't disagree. As I said,
the gallops are running for 100. We put on $100,000 minimum stakes at Melton on a Saturday night, Paul, and the drivers won't care what they're going around in.
But Topes, I don't think if the drivers are driving in drivers' colours, that'll make us put on a $100,000 race. That's my argument. I want to make it. I want to try and attract. Yeah, I want to try and attract a new market, a new way of marketing our industry. Putting colours on, sell your colours. Wear the Woodlands green, Barrostock blue. I don't care. Look at me dropping names. That's, I think, what we've got to do. Like my daughter's into the equestrian side of things. It's a whole different world, and it's scary the difference when you start looking at it. It's scary the difference, and that's where harness racing is getting left way behind here in Australia, I think, anyway. So yeah, it's one of those ones that we could mill on for a while. I'll touch back on it next week after you've had a bit of a think about it. I'll let you have a think about it, Daniel, and you can go that way as well, because as I said, it will go for too long otherwise. We've got no interview.
It's one of those topics that just doesn't have any, there's no right or wrong answer, and it's just, it's all up, it can go in any direction, but there's certainly a lot of positives and for both sides, maybe not too many negatives, but there's certainly a lot of debate about the whole issue.
Yep. And I think one of the things we do, sensationals, teal pants. We've got pink pants coming up. You've got Tough Tilly racing in her colours. There's so many ways that the colours can actually be used in harness racing for good. That maybe that's what we could do more of that, not less of it, to attract to more audiences. Instead of saying teal pants for ovarian cancer, I got nothing but just different coloured pair of pants for a different business organisation, or for the AFL. Let's wear blue pants 1 month for the AFL and try and get that crossover. Barrack for your favourite football team. I don't know, but maybe that's a way we can get more people watching harness racing in an off season. I don't know. So, and they'd have to wear blue and white because it's a Carlton show, this show, and you guys can't say anything about that at all. So it's fine. Even with, I can see it. Don't you worry about that. So it's all good. Toby, your Woodlands winner of the week this week. When I sent this out, you said it has to be this one, and I'm curious as to why it has to be this horse here in Better in Force.
Well, by Better's Delight, so it's a Woodland Stud Stallion, is it not?
Yep, that's all.
Paul, they've gone. It was 3 wide into the death, into the front, in a 25.4 quarter, if you don't mind. They've run 148.9. They to keep going at the 25.4 for a quarter is a 141.6 mile rate. Are you listening to this?
I saw it.
It was an outstanding performance. Better in Force. Go back and have a look. Ladyship pace at Tabcorp Park, Menangle on Saturday night. She just kept running. She blew them away in the end by 5.6 metres, 25.4, 27.3, 28, and home in only 28.2. But she was entitled to get a little tired.
There was some recording about it's the fastest quarter recorded. I can't remember exactly. I was listening to Sky Channel, only half listening, but it was something along the lines of the fastest quarter ever recorded at Menangle.
Yeah, I'll have to be close.
Yeah, maybe.
They ran They ran the first 1200 in 80.7, which wouldn't have quite got the Mercury 80. Remember the Mercury 80 thing, the 1200 metre races at Melton had to break 80 seconds. So she still didn't do that. That's how hard that was. And Chris Alford told me no horse will ever break 80 seconds for 1200 metres, but she went close.
She did go. She did go very, very close. Daniel, now,
yes.
I think he's taking a bit of the glory town, isn't he, Tobes? He's sort of running with it.
I'm taking a bit of leash here. I'm taking getting a bit of rain here.
Toby,
some of my loose lines.
Toby's concerned I'm going to run out of ink by the end of the 50th show of this series. So you get one winner up 1 week. So this week we've gone for 2. How's this work? Oh, yeah, wrong picture.
It was.
I've got to. You keep talking. I've got to change the picture, so it's okay. I didn't change it.
Righto. That's okay. So that's trial last Thursday at Shep. These two horses, there was only a head between them at the finish of the trial, but both of them had plenty in reserve. So I think it's pretty hard to knock them both and split them. So we'll put them both in. Here he comes for Beck Bartley and Steve O'Donoghue, and Paul's favourite, of course, if you can't say the name, Honolulu Bay for David and Josh Aiken. It was a great trial. The official time for the last half was 55.9. I don't think they went that quick. I think it's a fraction slower, but not much. Both horses had a lot in reserve. There was only a head between them at the finish. Here he comes as a 67 rater, so I'm sure they'll be able to find a race for him soon. Only concern with him is he hasn't won since September 2018, but he has been trialling quite a bit lately, and that's certainly been the best of his efforts. And as I say, did have plenty left in the tank. So look out for him when he goes around. And the other one is Honolulu Bay. He's a 61 rate. He's only a 3-year-old. He's nominated for a race during the week at Shep. Fields come out for that very soon. He's had 4 starts for 3 wins. He obviously be set for the Vic Red Series, I would imagine. But he went to the line just as good as the other horse. So that was probably the trial of the night there on Thursday night. There was one other one called the Rock God for Juanita Breen, a 2-year-old who didn't qualify because it made a mistake. Still won the trial, but look out for it down the track as well. So I think Juanita might have another nice little pony in the stable as well.
By Pet Rock, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Did you break it in, Paul?
No, I do its teeth.
Did you break it in, Paul?
I do its.
No? Okay.
I do its teeth. So if it hung bad, it's not my fault. You can take that up with someone else.
No, he went every night, so it'll have to go around again, though.
Just so you know, Daniel, whenever a horse plays up in a race or a trial or anything, I always ask Paul if he break it in because it's a bit of a theme, you know.
We at Geelong the other night, Toby, you'll be happy to know that, is it Better Romance? Was that her name? Better Romance for Karen Manning in the second last. I actually did break her in. She hung bad at Charlton and she won. She hung bad again the other night and cost herself again. So more than happy to put my hand up and say, yes, I broke her in. And, yep, not proud of it, that's for sure. But anyway, she did a good job. Boys, do we have anything else to offer for this week?
Yep. I got one more I wanted to touch on. I spoke with Luke Watson on the SEN track last week about a horse called Colonia Terra. I don't know if you saw its run the other night. Unbelievable run again. Won 2 in a row at Mildura. What night are they Mildura this week? Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, yeah.
Wednesday night, 9:03. Zilsey Wines pace. Colonia Terra taking on Bernie Winkle again. Throwing Elmer's hoofing it. And then the regulars, go down to Murrumbidgee track. Luke just said this horse just keeps sort of getting to a new grade and it takes him a little bit to get used to it. Then he just measures up and wins again, you know. I asked him if he thought it could come to Melton and he does think it'll eventually end up as a Melton horse, although at the moment they keep running 12 grand races each week. You can't see why he would venture to Melbourne, but I think the horse is one of those horses that's going to get it under everyone's guard for a little bit longer yet.
Yeah, no, he does a good job too. Lukey Watson, that's for sure, does a great job up there. Mildura Racing, it's been very competitive. I think there was a few guys had a good week up there last week. They keep saying about, you see some people on social media saying about, the blokes going up there and taking all their money. But Luke Watson, I think Kathy got a winner last week. Is it Kathy's sister? Yeah, Kathy Watson.
No, Luke got a double.
Did Kathy not drive a winner?
Luke got a double with Victor. No, I don't think she drove. I think he drove both. Vicstar Shiraz and Colonia Terra. He did. If you were on SEN track ball, you'd have been very, very happy with the push.
Do you want me to put their logo up? Is Hutchie going to sling me anything? Hey.
You were talking like you were going to take over from Hutchie and become the biggest racing tycoon in Australia at one stage last week. So don't you start on Hutchie. And another one in Queensland, Paul. I don't know if you ever looked that far north, but Colt 31 won again to take his earnings up to $948,000. He'd be about the 100th highest earning horse ever in Australasia, which is a big stat. And I believe, I've said this to you before, he will be one of the stallions of the next 10 years. Colt 31 will be one of the biggest stallions going around.
What's he buy?
Perfect Art. He's going to get opportunity, Paul, because owned by Kevin and Kay Seymour, he will throw everything at this horse to get him off the ground, and I reckon you'll find there'll be Colt 32s, Colt 33s, right up to Colt 6,481.
My daughter wasn't all that happy with the name. She thought it was a bit plain, that name, for sure. Vicstar Shiraz was driven by Kathy Watson. I'll accept your apology at any stage you want, Tobes. That's fine, so there's not a hassle.
I'll put it in writing and mail it to you with the others.
But Aaron Dunn, Kyle Costello, he's doing...
address to and you.
Return to sender and you. Kyle Costello got a double. Young Jordan Leadham, he's doing a good job too. A young bloke that's got no family backing in the sport as well. So they're doing a good job, some of these guys, making the trips to Mildura. The racing's up there. I think anyone that wants to go up there should go up there, but I'm sure the locals are happy with it. Wayne Hill, they're making a trip across a fair bit too. So it's good competitive racing, and that's what harness racing needs. I think there's 12 races on tonight at Shepparton. Will be signed off before the last is run tonight as well. So I think that's one of the good parts. I think we better sign off shortly. Toby's getting darker and darker. Don't seem like you pay your power bill too often, Tobes.
No, I'm not. I've got the light here. I can get real dark if you want.
All right, boys.
I'm not dark at all, Paul. And you?
We will be back next Monday. We'll have
He missed that. I can't believe he just missed that.
No, I didn't miss it. I just didn't acknowledge it. There's a difference.
Oh, right. Okay.
We'll be back next week at this same time because this works a lot easier for us. We might throw a podcast in there or two. We'll just see how we go. But hopefully people like the show and we can get a bit of feedback on the comments and going forward. If we can get together one day, we might even do it live, but we'll announce that beforehand. But fellas, thank you very much. Just a little bit of light-hearted fun, trying to promote people like the likes of Kathy Watson and those guys that don't get a lot of promotion. Lukey seems to take all the limelight, so that's the whole idea of On the Loose. If anyone has anything they want to promote, get in touch with us and we'll promote it on this show as well, within reason, of course. But yeah, anything around the harness racing that they want promoted, come on board and we'll look after you. Thanks Woodlands, Barristock, Kelly Partners, Daniel Hibberd and Tony McKinnon. Toby McKinnon. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Paul. And